Okay, welcome back to Laser Technology Sessions. So in continuation with the last class, we have discussing about the cavity modes. So we have the cavity with the two mirrors, and now we are checking what are the number of modes can sustain in the cavity or can exist in the cavity. So the number of modes can oscillate in the cavity. We can define the length of the cavity. Okay, so depending upon the length of the cavity, only some certain frequencies can oscillate inside the cavity. Not all the frequencies can oscillate inside the cavity. They has to satisfy the condition that the wavelengths or lambda by 2 can fit into the cavity. For example, now this is the lowest mode can possible. So so you can see at the edge of the mirror, it always forms the node, so that allows to have a standing wave formation. When you have a standing wave formation, they will have a constructive interference. So when you have a constructive interference, that mode is allowed to oscillate inside the cavity. When there is a destructive interference, your amplitudes gets cancelled. So what happens? You don't have any resultant intensity or the number of photons. Those modes cannot sustain inside the cavity. So these are the nodes where the amplitude is minimal and antinodes where the amplitude is maximum. Okay, these are the many number of modes can be sustained inside the cavity. So let's see with individually. We start from the lowest mode. So we take the cavity length of L. So the lowest possible mode is this one. Okay, so this forms a standing wave, so that satisfies the condition. So your length is equals to lambda by 2. So now I am taking as a lowest mode, I will define as a lambda 1. So now your lambda 1 is equals to 2L. So that is L by, this is total length L, and this is again, it's called one round trip. So the photon is actually going from here to here and coming back. So when this total path you call as a round trip. Okay, so now your lambda 1 is equals to 2L. The frequency of mode as defined is velocity of light by wavelength. So you can get your frequency of mode for the lowest possible mode, nu1 equals to C by, your lambda is nothing but 2L. So you substitute, you will get C by 2L. So this is the frequency of the mode. The lowest frequency of the mode can exist inside a cavity. So now your frequency has not a sharp frequency. You always get it has a width associated with it. So this is your natural line width because of your excited states. Now this width, after you kept these photons inside the cavity, because of the cavity loss, this width will increase because your mirrors might absorb and not 100% reflective. Okay, there are two possibilities can happen. They will absorb, they will scatter because of the surface roughness. In those cases you have losses. When you have a loss, your amplitude is decreases exponentially with the number of round trips. So this photon is making number of round trips. That means it's oscillating back and forth between the mirrors. So with over the time, what happens? It amplitude decreases. So this is on time domain. You convert into frequency domain using your Fourier transforms. It will give you a frequency domain with a certain width. So that's what it add up the width because of the cavity loss. So your total width becomes increased. This is your exponential decay function as we discussed in our earlier sessions. So now we will see the next possible mode. So the next possible mode is this one, and your L is nothing but the lambda. So this is lambda by 2 and this is our lambda. So this is one complete lambda wavelength of your light. So now your lambda 2 is nothing but 2L by 2. So I am writing in this format so that it will be continued for all the possible modes. So the frequency of the mode is 2C by 2L. So now in our cavity we have two different modes. The first one is the fundamental mode or the lowest possible mode, and the second one is nu 2. And similarly we continue for the next lowest possible mode, so that is lambda plus lambda by 2. So that is nothing but lambda by 2 plus lambda by 2 plus lambda by 2, you will get 3 lambda by 2. So your length is equals to 3 lambda 3 by 2. So I am giving each wavelength, I am giving a different name as lambda 1, lambda 2 and lambda 3. These are the different possible modes can sustain in the cavity. So your lambda 3 equals to 2L by 3. So the frequency of mode is equals to C by lambda. So C by your 2L by 3, the 3 will come in the numerator, you will get 3C by 2L. So now you have 3 modes exist in the cavity. So this is your new one, that is C by 2L, nu 2 that is 2C by 2L, and nu 3 that is 3C by 2L. If you observe carefully, you will see the difference between the two modes is equals to C by 2L. You see nu 2 minus nu 1, 2C by 2L minus C by 2L, you get C by 2L. Now the next one in the sequence order, 3C by 2L minus 2C by 2L, you get C by 2L. So now you have different modes in the oscillator, and now the difference between the consecutive modes is nothing but C by 2L. So that is one kind of observation from this figure. So now I am making the qth mode. So this is our qth mode. So for the qth mode can be your lambda q by 2. So because it's integral, like you have lambda by 2 and you have a q lambda by 2. So that gives you your lambda q by 2. So your lambda q is nothing but 2L by q. So here there is a small mistake, it should be a q lambda by 2. So your length is nothing but q lambda by 2. So your lambda q equals to 2L by q. So the frequency of the mode is equals to C by lambda, then you will get q and C by 2L. So that is the frequency of mode for a qth mode. So now you have many number of modes can be sustained inside the cavity of length L. So now the difference between the two consecutive modes is called mode spacing. Okay, the difference between the two consecutive modes, or you can call it two different frequencies. So these are the frequencies oscillating inside a cavity. So now the difference between the consecutive frequency is called a mode spacing, that is equals to C by 2L. So you know the length. So once you know the length, you know that what is the difference between the two frequencies. That easily you will get it. You know the light velocity and you substitute the length of the cavity, that gives you the mode spacing in the cavity. So this is our optical axis, and modes are propagating along axial direction. So these are the modes are propagating along axial direction. So these modes are called longitudinal modes. So inside the cavity, what we are so far discussing or modes are called longitudinal modes. So now you extend your number of modes, you will get n number of modes can be oscillate inside a cavity. Now you change the length of the cavity, you will get different modes, because which are the number of the modes will not sustain, they can be appeared by changing the length, because when you change the length, these modes cannot be again sustained. So it is purely your cavity length dependent which modes to oscillate. So these many number of modes will be oscillating inside the cavity. So now you have a gain medium inside the cavity. When you have a gain medium, so gain medium having certain gain curve. What is meant by gain curve? The gain curve is almost like nothing but your absorption spectrum. So that means these photons or the frequencies can be sustained inside the cavity. So now your gain curve only give a spontaneous emission of these frequencies. So that means all these frequencies will not be there because you don't have these photons inside the cavity. So only these photons can sustain when you have a gain curve. So these photons will be amplified, then these photons will be inside your cavity, so that you can, using your amplifying medium or your active medium, you can define what kind of frequencies can be oscillated inside the cavity. So you are now defining, I want this frequency or I want this frequency. Now you move this gain curve, that means you change the active medium whichever the mode you want to lace. So that's our choice, using our gain curve or in turn your active medium. You select your active medium so that you can select your what are the number of modes can be under the gain curve. See, though the cavity can sustain these many number of modes, but your gain medium only gives your spontaneous emission. When you have a spontaneous emission, then the spontaneous emission triggers your stimulated emission. Those frequencies will oscillate. So all these frequencies will not be there in principle. Even some frequencies under the gain curve, not all the curves under the gain curve can be give the lacing. So they has to overcome the cavity loss. So that we will discuss in the later the sessions. So this is about the plane mirror cavity. So the main disadvantage of these plane mirrors, it can capture only in the axial direction, which are the photons which are propagating along the axial direction. If the photons going little bit off, very small deviation from the axial direction, these plane mirrors cannot capture. So the reason is, see, these are the plane mirrors. Now your photon is coming like this direction. This is perfectly in axial direction. It can reflect back in the same direction. See, now if a small angle, it is going about a small angle, a small deviation from your axial direction, what happens when they incident on this mirror, they will reflect again on the equal you have to follow the Snell's law. So the angle of incidence equals to angle of refraction. This is your incident angle, so your reflection angle with the same. So now what happens, even with a small angle deviation from your axial direction, these photons will escape from the cavity. So that means eventually we will lose a lot of intensity. To avoid that, we will make the cavity with the concave mirrors. Okay, so now what happens in the concave mirrors, if the photons incident at small axial directions or not little deviation from the axial direction, they can be still trapped inside the cavity. Okay, this kind of a design can give you a transverse modes. Okay, so let's see how it will give. The transverse mode represents the electromagnetic field pattern in your laser beam. So to do that, you have to have a photographic plate or a photographic film or a camera. You have to use perpendicular to your propagation direction. So now I will take your active medium. So now this is the axial direction. If the photon any giving in these angles, they will be trapped like this, and they will again directed towards the end mirrors. If photons in going little away from the axial directions in these angles, they will be captured and they will go to end mirrors. So they even slight off axis photons will be also can be oscillated inside the cavity. So that is the main advantage of your curved mirrors. Okay, so this gives you your lasing action. So that means you have a number of photons make a round trips inside the cavity and amplified, and then gives you your lasing action. Then you have a laser beam come out. So now what you do, you take this laser beam and use a concave lens. So what is the job of the concave lens? So now this is a biconcave. So what is the job of the concave lens? So the concave lens will diverge the light. Okay, this lens acts as like a diverging lens. So now you place your photographic film, you will observe a pattern. So in this case, it's a circular pattern. Okay, so now we represent in this direction is P and Q. So where P and Q are represented the number of nodes in the different axes of the plane perpendicular to propagation direction. So this we call TEM PQ. So TEM means transverse electromagnetic, TEM wave, transverse electromagnetic. P and Q represents the number of nodes in the axis that we see. For example, this one, the number of nodes in the P and Q. So what is the node? Node is the point where your amplitude will be 0. So now you go along this axis, there is no amplitude is 0. So that is we can make. And similarly in Q direction you don't have any nodes. Now you see the second one, you can see two lobes. Okay, so now if you go around this direction, you can see this kind of a pattern. So these are different modes, different transverse electromagnetic modes will be in your cavity. So this is a lower order mode, and these are all higher order modes. So still you can continue. So then how you represent your TEM? This is 0-0 mode. You don't have, when you start from the point and before the end, you should have some certain node. If there is no node, then it is 0 node. Okay, in along this axis you have 0 node, and along this axis you have a 0 node. That is called TEM 0-0 mode. This is the fundamental mode, and this is the most of the lasers. This is the TEM 0-0 mode is the one generally gives. And now this is the one you see along, this is along P direction, you have one node. So you can go through here, you find one node. Okay, along this direction you don't have any node. That is called TEM10 mode. And this one along P you don't have a mode. Along Q direction you have one node. This is called TEM01 mode. And this one is having one mode along P and one mode along Q. So this is TEM11 mode.